The Celtics, goodbye, Georges Niang. Hello, Chris Boucher. Have they solved their center problem? We'll talk about it right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Beantown, be ever ready. It's the C's. Who else could it be? What they gon' say now? Screaming like JT, Karalis. We kept the madness every game, every practice. Primetime Depp and D White on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising business, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Actually, now in August, it's 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Still more free podcasts than you're going to find anywhere else. Your team is the Boston Celtics, and I talk about them Monday, Wednesday, Friday until September 8th, I believe. Then it's Monday through Friday. So subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Watch the show on YouTube. Get into that comment section. Share your thoughts on this big trade. Big trade, right? Georges Niang gets sent out to Utah. Celtics signed free agent Chris Boucher. That's all happening, which is what we're going to talk about. I'm John Karalis, by the way. I cover the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. I've been doing a version of this job for about 20 years now. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Very nice of the Celtics to do a deal here on a Tuesday, right on schedule for the podcast. So right on schedule to have Tom Westerholm here to talk about this move. First of all, Tom, hi, how are you? Blink 3 times if you need help. Okay.
Yeah, we're in trouble.
We're in trouble. We're in a lot of trouble. And now I'm not saying about the Celtics who need help.
No. Yeah, no. Physical health and safety. I'm in a house with many children. So
all right. So you're in a house with all these kids. But you've escaped to talk about this monumental move, the monumental Georges Niang. Hardly knew ya.
Yeah,
coming.
I think Celtics fans feel like they know him very well.
Yeah.
Really feel like they got a read on this guy. They think,
Lawrence kid, like this should have been the big homecoming, and it was just like, who? This guy? What? And like people were angry. Like I thought it was gonna be like, okay, George, like welcome back, ha ha ha. Wasn't that funny when you grabbed Jaylen?
Yeah.
No. So like people were like up in arms, and he's gone, and people are happy.
I mean, I will say the two whatever Reddit whatever, but like two reaction like. RJ Lewis, one of my junior from Wiser Student 557. RJ Lewis Jr., one of my favorite players I've definitely heard of before today. And then 4305, I'm 40% certain RJ Lewis Jr. is not Georges Niang, so put a ring on it. Like people were ready for this dude to be gone. And like, I don't know.
Unbelievable.
I don't know. I mean, Jaylen got over it. I feel like for one, it was. I just think it was such an inconsequential player to be this worked up about and this ecstatic. I think that a fair amount of it is a bit, right? Like doing the bit of hating Georges Niang for some people, but probably not for everybody. I think
some people really hated him.
I think some people were really ready for this guy to be gone. After never seeing him on the court in a Celtics.
Right. They've seen enough. We've seen enough of Georges Niang to know exactly who he is, what he is as a player, and all that stuff. Yeah. So he goes to Utah. It's like 2 moves here.
Yeah.
He goes to Utah. RJ Lewis Jr. 2-way deal. This is a weird thing. I'm still not 100% clear on how this is going to work because he comes in as a 2-way guy. They could just be like, no, we're cutting your 2-way, and Amari Williams, because he apparently hasn't signed his 2-way yet.
Right.
Maybe because this was a deal that might have been in the – I have no idea as far as that goes. Trying to get some clarification on that. But regardless, it's Niang and a couple of second-rounders to Utah. And then on the other side of it, Chris Boucher comes in, a 1-year. It's listed as a $3.3 million deal. It's a veteran minimum deal.
Right.
So it's a 1-year veteran minimum to a guy I completely didn't realize. I completely forgot that he was 32 years old. I'm thinking like, oh, Chris Boucher, here's a guy in his 20s, could fit the time. Like, wait a second. No, like he's not some 24-year-old. He's 32. I don't, am I alone? Am I alone in like feeling like, why did I think that he was in his 20s?
No, you're not alone in thinking that he was in his 20s. I mean, for one, but if he was in his 20s, there's no way you're getting a guy like that for 3.3 million.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like if that guy was in his low 20s, you're like, that's a guy who's getting a pretty nice chunk of change.
Right.
Because here's the thing, right? The Celtics just got a pretty good player. Like
he's decent. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, like I mean, right away you're like, wow, this guy's big member of the rotation. You know, like starter for sure.
Yeah,
like,
right. He's a starting center, I think, or power
picked
forward.
up your starting center on 1 year deal, but you picked up your starting center for 3.3 million. Like,
yeah,
that is good business. And like, you know, a guy who's like, you know, I don't think he's gonna like light the world on fire, but like he can do a lot of stuff that's gonna really help Joe Mazzulla. And yeah, I mean,
so let's backtrack for a second because the money part is important, and I don't want to I don't want to dive in like okay, here's the financials and be boring, but the reality is 8.2 million went out, 3.3 came in, but it's not really 3.3 because veteran minimum deals are subsidized by the NBA, so it's a little bit less than that on the salary cap, which means they're about 8 million now under the second apron, which is important, and also important only about 4 million away from the first apron.
Yep.
So now you have, okay, Anthony Simons, you can see if you can flip him and get him down, and maybe you get somebody to take Xavier Tillman for nothing, and you maneuver your way under the first apron, and now all of a sudden the Boston Celtics have access to a full mid-level or access to a sign and trade deal where you can acquire somebody via sign and trade. And even though that hard caps using both those things hard caps you at the first apron, if you make the money work, you can now, like you can send out now Simons or how you stagger it, you can send Simons out and take back a sign and trade. I don't know. I'm going to say Jonathan Kuminga, not saying that that's going to happen, but like in that situation, you could now get involved. If you get yourself under the first apron, you could get involved in somebody like that. And that is important, right? Because we know this year doesn't mean a damn thing. This is the soft tank, this / gap year / transition. You're trying to find the pieces around
year of Chris Boucher.
The year, right. And so our buddy Chris Boucher comes in and it's like, hey, look, he's a good player.
Yeah.
Right. He's kind of what they needed. He's small at 6'9", but he is a shot blocker, rebounder. And, you know, last season he shot 36% from three. He's a 34% career 3-point shooter. He has 1 year where he shot 38%. The rest is kind of below average. But
and importantly, from the field test with Boucher, you're like, that guy shoots 43% from the three against the Celtics, right? Like he's a guy who feels like he hits a lot of shots against the Celtics. So, you know, important things to keep in mind here.
That's also part of it, right? He's
remove that guy from the market.
Brad consistently going after guys that he has played against, has suffered against, all that stuff. So you getting yourself, like when we talked to Brad the second time around, I think it was post draft, or whenever it was recently in July, where he was like, he said the word flexibility 100 times. This is what he's looking for. This is about finding cheap guys to put around Tatum Brown, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser, finding some depth. You know, one of the things we were going to talk about was the I wrote a piece on the Indiana Pacers because Rick Carlisle did a podcast and talked about how like the depth and not too top heavy stars is kind of the future. Well, this kind of plays into that discussion a little bit because you do have the two stars, but if you can put that depth, a bunch of equal depth, that's not just not just minimum guys.
Yeah.
Even if they're on minimum contracts, they're playing above the minimum, like ability wise. This is the audition. Can Boucher stick around for a couple of years and be that guy? Can Garza do that? Can Minot do that? Can Amari Williams, whenever that gets cleared up, can any of these guys? Can Hugo Gonzalez? Can Baylor Shine? Can those guys be your Benedict Matherins? Your like the Aaron Neesmiths, those types of guys that you can fill the gaps and be like, oh wow, he's playing above his head. And takes a lot of the pressure off the star/stars that you have. Sit on your answer. We'll get to your response to that and continue this conversation here about Chris Boucher and what it means when we come back. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go if you want to go to a last-minute thing like a baseball game. Red Sox are playing. Red Sox are kind of hot. Maybe you said you'd written them off and you said, oh, well, let's maybe go check them out. Open up the Game Time app. It makes buying tickets fast and simple. The prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch. So maybe you just decided today, hey, let's give it a shot. You go to one of the bars, you open up the app, and maybe you get one of their incredible last-minute deals. They have clear seat views and the lowest price guarantee. Takes all the worry out of buying. I have done this exact thing. I have gone to Fenway. I've sat around. I've waited for tickets. They show up. You know you're getting a great deal. And Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, making it easy to browse the app for an exciting upcoming MLB game. Like I know the Red Sox and the Royals are playing right now. So you can get rid of the endless scrolling, because they've got zone deals that pick the best seats in your section for you. You can see the seat views right from your app. You know exactly where you'll be. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA. You'll get $20 off your first purchase. I'm well past my first purchase, so I don't get it. But terms apply, and you can get that first purchase, $20 off, if you create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKED, Locked On NBA. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Lots of extensions being handed out. The Locked On NBA podcast, Locked On NBA Game Night, has all of that covered. De'Aaron Fox is the big talking point here. What's he going to be in San Antonio next to Wemby for the long term? Those guys on Locked On NBA and Locked On NBA Game Night have all of that covered. We have the Celtics covered, and I made my point before the break on Boucher and filling in those gaps. So, Tom, floor is yours.
No, I think that you're exactly right when you like the thing that the Celtics are looking for now is because I think it's important to remember that not only this year are they not going to win a championship, right? You look ahead to next year, it's like, okay, to be back in a championship position, you have to make a lot of good moves in a pretty short window. Like,
yeah,
getting Tatum back is going to make a huge difference. Don't get me wrong. But when you get Tatum back, you are still going to have a team that no longer has Drew Holiday, that no longer has Kristaps Porzingis, and that, like, you know, has had to make that's no longer going to have Al Horford. That's had to make a lot of big moves to get themselves back to any semblance of flexibility here, right? So, like, it's really important. Look, this is an important year for Boucher. He's on a 1-year deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is also like a really important year for the Celtics to hit on some of these guys. And, like, you know, I mean, taking some swings on some really young, really cheap guys, right? Like, if Garza worked out or might not worked out in the way that the Celtics are kind of hoping, that's a huge win. Like, any of these guys, if they work out, it's a huge win. So I think the thing that's nice about Boucher is that that right there is a proven NBA player. And, like, yes, he's a little older. He's much more of a known commodity. But, like, so with him, you're less seeing, okay, what kind of a player is he, and more how would he fit with some of the other guys who are important on your team. So that's going to be the interesting thing about him to me, is like, okay, how does this guy look next to Derek White and Jaylen Brown? And can we envision how he will look next year with a, you know, one of the best players in the NBA playing next to him? Probably pretty good, but that's the big question for Boucher this season. You know, more so than, like, who is he? Like, like it is with Garza and Minot.
Yeah. And I think the stylistic kind of approach the Celtics have to take here, especially without Jayson. This is an interesting thing, and this kind of plays into the Indiana Pacers discussion too. Part of what made Indiana and OKC, by the way, I know they have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and J-Dub, and those guys are, obviously they have like top end talent, but they were a bunch of tryhards, over the past few years, right? It all came together. But over the past few years, like, it's very obvious, like they're not just sitting around being like, okay, my turn, your turn. They play hard, they play fast, they play the same thing with the Pacers. The Celtics with Jaylen and they're not going to be a great team, right? Everybody's talking about, okay, how good could this offense be? Can it be a top 10 offense? I don't know. How good can this defense be? Not great, right? Like Boucher helps.
He does.
Defense. Yeah. Like one thing that he does, he like snaps a little bit more into focus. The losing Niang and adding Boucher, just it's the optometrist going better or worse.
Yeah,
Like you're still in the middle of the eye test, but it's like, oh, this is better, right? So you're more in focus now. You're not exactly there yet, but you're more in focus now. And
well, real quick, just on that, the last time that we spoke, we talked about the level of defense that you get out of the versatility of Derek White and Jaylen Brown. And it's like, the thing was, right, okay, how much switching can they do? They can do some switching. They're not going to have any rim protection, but they can do some switching. And like, yeah, man, like Boucher snaps that into place a lot more, kind of seamlessly than it was before.
You can play those double bigs. Now you're starting lineup, figuring out what Simons is, what they're going to do with him. But right now it's White, Simons, Brown, and you can say Boucher and Garza. Let's just play double big and let's, put some size out there. And, Boucher can be a little bit of a roamer, and you can kind of almost play your normal defense a little bit, where before you couldn't at all. And now you can use, you can squint a little bit and say, all right, well, like Garza's going to have to work hard and Simon's going to have to work hard, but Garza's on a prove it. Like you said, like in my knots, like if he gets in and like Simon's is going to kind of be who he is, but these other guys are on there kind of prove it. Like we talked about the fit. Say, okay, well, maybe there's something there where you can play a style that you're kind of used to. So when Jayson comes back, it's less of a transition, but you're still playing faster. Like Boucher will help you play faster, and you can still try spacing him a little bit. Maybe they'll leave him open a little bit more, but it's better than I think some of the other options. So I don't know. I just feel like for what it is, right? I think the big headline here is flexibility and moving towards a place where you can make more moves, maybe during the season or next summer. But in the meantime, you've got a guy like maybe you can overachieve a little bit by playing fast and playing harder than everybody else, because we know that playing harder than everybody else is going to get you a few more wins. Like what's the win total on this team? Is it 40? Is it 41? Like, are they a 500 team? Well, even if we say 40 wins for them as currently constituted, well, maybe some effort and a couple of things going right. Maybe you get to a plus 500. Maybe you get to 42, 43. I don't know. I mean, it's less out of the question now, I think.
Yeah, and I also think, like, to your point about the tryhards from OKC, right? It's like a lot of those guys too were guys who were kind of slept on, or guys who just like weren't, like they it's not like they had this like super duper blue chip roster that they put together. Like this isn't
right.
That's not what they had. And if you look up and down the Celtics roster, even at the young guys, right? It's like if you can instill some kind of try hard identity, I think the other thing to consider is like, hey, if you have a try hard roster, your team, not only can they go from 40 to, say 44 wins or what, 45 wins, 46, whatever it is that you get as a result of trying really hard. I also think your young players just get a lot better, right?
Yeah.
Like if you try really freaking hard, you're going to improve as a basketball player, even, in the future, just like not just as a try hard, but also just like, I don't know, from a skill perspective, like how much do you benefit from just working your butt off? That's a classic way to improve. So yeah, I mean, I think really looking at that model of depth is important when you, especially, when you consider kind of this, this tweener kind of season that we're looking at here. Like, yeah, I mean, you could go from 40 to 44, but then also next season, it might be a lot easier to find that Andrew Nemhard because you just tried insanely hard and he became Andrew Nemhard on the wings of trying really hard.
That's right. And this is where I want to take the conversation is the next thing. When Jayson Tatum comes back, is there a change here that could happen that impacts how they play when Jayson comes back? We'll talk about that when we come back. Today's show is brought to you by Open Phone. If you're running a business, every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you had an urgent need for a service. You call, maybe you need a plumber, maybe you need an electrician, maybe you need something for your car. When that first person doesn't answer, do you sit there and wait and be like, whatever? No, you move on. That's why you need Open Phone. It's the #1 business phone system built to streamline and scale your communications, all from an app on your phone or on your computer. Open Phone lets you manage business calls and texts all from a single app. There's a shared inbox feature, which is a game changer because your team can jump in to any conversation instantly without missing a beat. It's all seamless. And their AI agent handles after hours calls, answers common questions, and captures leads so you never miss a customer. Open Phone is offering you 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. That's Openphone, OPENPHONE.com/LockedOnNBA. If you have existing numbers with another service, Open Phone will port them over at no extra charge. Open Phone, no missed calls, no missed customers. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Make sure you're checking out Locked On Raptors, Locked On Jazz to get other side of these deals. We have a Locked On for every team, everywhere, every NBA, MLB, NFL, NHL, like your team. When we say your team every day, we got them all covered here on the Locked On Podcast Network. So who knows how the season's going to go, Tom? We're hoping like there's a best case scenario where 2, 3, 4 guys hit and it's like, oh my God, everything's working out well. Maybe they win a few more games. And I don't want to say make noise. I don't want to like put expectations out there too high. This is I think the best case scenario for this team is probably win a first round series. Even if everything goes right, if they win a first round series and make it tough in the second round, it's probably like, I think everybody should be happy at this point.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. But right now in early August, it's kind of my feeling.
Yeah.
But if they are playing fast and cutting, Brad Stevens talked about cutting a lot when he was talking about stuff in his availabilities. Jaylen Brown talks about playing fast. He likes to play fast. Derek White can play fast. I think one of the big criticisms of this team has been how slow they tend to play. Like their playoff pace was 91 possessions per 48 minutes. Is not a lot, where the Thunder were up over 100. So nine extra possessions. You can do a lot with those. And that's the difference between wins and losses. So my question here is, Tatum, I think, is the biggest culprit in the slowdown because he's at his best when he like catches, surveys, and it's like, I can break down anybody. He feels like I can shoot over you. I can get by you. I'm trying to get you to make a mistake, and then I'm going to capitalize on that. I want them to play faster. I think everybody wants them to play faster. You can still do those ISO things from time to time, but do it less often. So my question is, if they are, let's just say they're projected to be a 40-win team, And now with Boucher, you got a little bit of a shot blocker. You can start some transition. You can get out there and run. You can take some chances, maybe force some turnovers. This is a terrible team at forcing turnovers. Maybe they can start doing some of that. If that works and we come out of the season feeling like, wow, I like the style of play, you just need some better players. I wonder if that'll get Jayson Tatum to be like, okay, I gotcha. I won't slow it down as much because I just watched these guys play fast and play hard and everybody loved it.
I don't know. I don't know. Because here's the thing, right? Your team takes on the personality of its best player, or it's like, of his most important. Tatum is still going to be the best player when he comes back. If he's, presumably, right? Like, knock on wood that he is still the best player when he comes back from this injury. But I don't know. It's interesting, right? Because it's like the player that you describe, right, is, when you look at the two of them, it doesn't look the same. But the player you just described is Carmelo Anthony, right? Where he likes to like look and survey and slow the game down. And like, it's like, okay, how would Carmelo Anthony have dealt with a super fast team? I don't know. I don't know. And like Tatum is a different personality, a different all of those things. Yeah. Very different personality. Values winning. And look, Tatum is a winner, right? Like, and not that Melo wasn't. Like, I'm not trying to do that stupid thing, but like, but Tatum is a winner. Like, he wants to win. He understands the importance. He understands the importance of winning to his legacy. He understands the importance of winning to Boston. He has embraced Boston. Boston has embraced him. So like, I do think there's a lot working in the favor of like, hey, maybe like be really interesting to see what a much faster paced Tatum would be like. But I do think that there's some level of just like, okay, but he's back. This is his team. This is, and he's back to do what he does best. So I don't know. I'd be curious to see it. Yeah.
I'm hopeful. I don't want him to be a new player, but also who Tatum is as a player has evolved over time. So
that's true. That's a great point. Yes.
He has been he is much more of a passer.
Yes.
Than he was before. Sure. And he handles
passing and defense are two places where he deviates from the Melo comparison for sure.
Yes. That's right. So I like that he has become a more complete player. So sitting there and watching, right? This is the thing about like Tatum is super smart. Is the one thing that I don't think players get enough credit for. You can't be a moron and play in the NBA. Like you could be a moron and be an incredible basketball player, and that'll get you pretty far, but it won't get you NBA superstar, right? Like you just can't. You have to be able to process and think and reason and accept things and like what gets you to that next step is the ability to be like, okay, I see it, I feel it, I understand what I need to do. And sometimes that's take a step back, sometimes that's push, sometimes that's ISO, sometimes that's pass. If Tatum is sitting on that bench all season long and sitting next to the coaches and hearing the coaches, like this is the thing you hear about when players are injured and have to sit out for a while. They get this new appreciation for the game.
Yeah.
Because you have no choice but to sit there and probably, you're not getting in and you're not getting in for a while, maybe all season. So understand, like if he sits there and goes, okay, playing fast gives us this advantage. Where do I fit? If I were there and I did this, what would I have done? Would that have helped? Or I think he can process all of that. And I think because he and Joe Mazzulla have a great relationship and he and Brad have a great relationship, I think they can spend time over the course of the season and have like these little conversations like, yeah, you know what? Our pace is up and it's helping us in these ways. Like you're great. Like no one's telling Jayson Tatum to be a different player.
Right.
It's just do what you do, but a little bit faster. Like just there's how many touches does he get per game? Just take 10 of those and make a couple of quicker decisions. Yeah. And then you can still do your other stuff because you're awesome. The beauty of superstars is You can do things that everyone else would be terrible for everybody else, but you can do it because you can make those shots.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I give him a lot of credit, and I think that a season of sitting there, he can absorb it.
I agree. I completely agree. I think there's two other things that play in this favor, right? The first one is, hey, Jayson, play faster. It's still gonna run through you, dog. So like, think of all the stats. You're gonna get like your numbers are gonna go.
That's right.
More possessions is great for you. You see SGA. You know how many possessions he had and what his stats look like. There's no reason that similar thing couldn't happen with you. And if that happens, then we're talking, MVP type stuff, obviously, as we just saw. And I also think if it works, if playing faster works, it's going to be pretty easy to, I think, sell Jayson Tatum on hey, you can do this thing. And if it doesn't work, no problem. You just go back to the Jayson Tatum thing that you were doing before.
Yeah.
If playing fast sucks, okay, Tatum, welcome back, man. Let's go back to doing the thing that you do really well. We tried something. It didn't work. So really, there's kind of no. I mean, that's the nice thing about this year, right? It's it stinks that there's a gap year. It stinks that Tatum got hurt. All of that stuff is awful. But does remove some pressure. It's just let's try some stuff out, throw some stuff at the wall, and see what happens.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, look, I'm a huge believer in silver linings. I believe that when things are at their worst, there is some good that can come out. And also the opposite. I believe in the opposite. Yes. When things are going great, there's okay, this could also be bad, right? Yeah. So you do have to be careful. So
never get too high, never get too low. Brad Stevens, Tom Westerholm.
That's right. And I'm not great at that, but I do believe in it. And so it sucks. No one would ever wish that Tatum gets injured, but it happened. And so now you look to see, okay, what positive can come out of a thing that has happened. And you say the observation of a team that you should be leading, now being led by Jaylen, now playing a certain style because they have to, because you're not there. And you go, oh, these are all things that could work. And also the Celtics being forced into trying new styles because you don't have, we've taken away, we've tied your right hand behind your back. Now let's see your left hand get better. We've tied your offense behind your back. Now let's see it. Let's figure out a way to score and be a top 10 offense somehow without Jayson Tatum. Can you step out of the bottom 5 of, defensively? Can you step into can you be mediocre? If the Celtics are a mediocre defense somehow, which I do not expect, I expect them to be bad. But if somehow they can get to mediocre with the effort and be somewhere around top 10 offense with the effort, all of a sudden it's holy crap, this is much better than I expect. So I think there is the potential for a silver lining here. And you know what? Ultimately, the worst case scenario, just like you said. Welcome back, Jayson. Let's get back to existence. It's the Jayson Tatum show. We're happy to have the Jayson Tatum show. Welcome. That's the worst case scenario, and that's fine. So, all right. So welcome aboard, Chris Boucher. We'll see how it goes. Hope you didn't
welcome aboard, Chris Boucher. In this house, we talk about Jayson Tatum a lot.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with Anthony Simons. Shout out to Brad Stevens, by the way, for working in early August and still doing deals.
Especially for working on a Tuesday.
Oh, man.
Brad.
Beautiful.
Our dog.
Chef's kiss. Oh. Yes, chef. All right, Tom. Appreciate you, Tom, as always. I do appreciate you all, the listeners, the viewers watching the show on YouTube. Thank you. Everydayers, I love you. Thanks for being part of this show. It's 3 days a week, bonus podcasts. So if we had done our regular show and this happened the next day, it would have been a bonus podcast. So you never know when one will drop. So make sure you're subscribed. It's available everywhere. It's for free. Every podcast is free. So make sure you're subscribed. Get into the comment section. Make sure you're watching and commenting and sharing your thoughts and then sharing the podcast. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.